Why do just about everybody in bluegrass, gospel music is a part of what you do, of the albums you cut, the songs you do on the stage? What about some of the rest of you? Because I've heard nearly every one of you sing gospel.
I grew up.
Doyle Lawson,
My dad sang in an a cappella quartet when I was a little fella, and they sang in churches and revivals, occasionally on the radio for a preacher on a Sunday afternoon. But when my dad rededicated his life in 1950, I'd heard him sing some before that, but not much. But in a car, going to something, and one of the songs he used to sing was, it was not too long after my grandmother had died. I never got to know her. She died a month after I was born. But he'd sing "Sweeter Than the Flowers." I know a lot of you folks remember that song. But I thought my daddy had a good voice, as small as I was. But he got back into church, and we were living over in Leatherwood, Kentucky, in a little coal camp that's been reclaimed. You know where it is, though, Bobby. Not too far from where you grew up.
Not too far.
But anyway, and so they were going to build a church, and it was a tent church at first, and he would lead the congregation, and then we moved back to Kingsport, Tennessee, where I was born, and he and my mother and one of his nephews had a little trio, and then mother stopped to raise me and my little brother, and who's about 4 inches taller than I am right now. But anyway, and my sister sang until she got married, but it eventually became a quartet. And we'd moved into in Hancock County in 1954, and so he sang with the Clinch River Quartet until he stopped. And but they went and they studied. They went to shape note singing schools, and the guy would come through in the summertime, Bill, and he'd rent the classroom out in the little elementary school where we lived. And my dad said it cost $5 a week, and he'd hold a 2-week school. And I'd go with him. I was just a little fella, and I'd go with him just to watch that guy wave his hands, But I was always around a cappella music like that, and of course, being from the Tri-Cities area in Tennessee, WCYB Radio was a great station where Mac Wiseman was there, and Ralph and Carter. Lester and Earl came there in 49, I believe Earl said. And so there was a lot of string music. Of course, we had the Grand Ole Opry on that we could tune in on Saturday night if we got a good clear signal. And when I heard Bill Monroe, I was about 5 years old, and my mother told me who it was, and I said, that's what I want to do when I grow up. And I never did change my mind, though. I always knew that's what I wanted to do. And when I grow up, I still want to do that, too. But I love the gospel music. And, I gave my life to Jesus when I was 8 years old. I was saved in a revival. And beyond a shadow of a doubt, I know that God saved my soul. And sometimes I got a little far away from Him, but He never let me go. Amen. And so for me, the gospel music is not about whether it be a country, a southern gospel, or whatever. Gospel music is about the message in the song and belief in what you're singing about. And it was a thing, everyday thing for us. And they practiced once a week, whether they had any place to go sing or not, And Ramona, I want to add something. My daddy had 3 groups that he loved to hear. He loved the Chuck Wagon Gang, and he loved the Masters family, Johnny and Lucille Masters. But his favorite group was the Brownsbury Four.
Well, I appreciate that.
And he bought all those 78s.
I've sat many evenings listening to them rehearse.
Well, I bet you did, and I love that style too. And the fact is, I've done some recording with I did a thing called the Gospel Radio Gems, where I took the quartet in, and I used just a guitar, and we cut it live. I set up 2 microphones. I put my bass singer on one so I could control him a little bit, because you got to sing low notes, you can't sing high. If you hit them too hard, you sing sharp. If you're a high singer, you hit it too high, you sing flat, But anyway, you get that happy medium. But I set the mic up for my trio and my guitar, and I didn't mic the guitar, but I wanted to recapture or try and recapture some of that feel that they had, you know. And man, when Merle Travis, those guys played that music, and the Swanee River Boys, I know you remember them. They had some good stuff too, you know. But the Browns Ferry Four, and Grandpa was an awesome singer. He was a good, and I could pick him out.
Pitch.
I
His
knew
pitch was like
I
a
could
laser.
pick him out any
was.
place.
That's
And
true.
but a cappella music for me, and I wanted to continue on because it's almost become a lost art in that aspect, and I wanted to try to keep it going. And I had all these songs I learned from my dad and the Quartet and other people too, you know, that influenced me. And I said, well, surely as much as I like them, I love these songs. Maybe somebody else will like them. And you know, in 1979, I put this group together. And my second album was all gospel, Rock My Soul. And man,
Yep. And man.
God has a way of providing, because that was the one that turned the corner for me. And almost 35 years later, I'm still here. You know?
Great. It's a great story.